Let's begin. Today is June 9th, 2024, and we're solving the Daily Turing Machine Puzzle. Today's puzzle uses the following 6 criteria cards. Criteria card 4, 5, 9, 14, 17, and 19, and uses the purple verification cards. The code above is what you use to go on to turingmachine.info to get more details on the puzzle. Let's solve. So on the grid above, we've got our 6 criteria cards. On the top row, we've got criteria card A, criteria card B, criteria card C, and the bottom row, we've got criteria card D, criteria card E, and criteria card F. Criteria card A looks at the middle digit, the square digit, and compares that to the number 4. So should the square value be less than 4? Should it be equal to 4? Or should it be greater than 4? Criteria card B looks at the triangle digit, the first digit, and will let us know whether that value is an even or an odd. Criteria card C looks at the 3 digits in our code and will let us know how many of those should be a 3. Should there be no 3s, a single 3, perhaps 2, maybe even all are 3s. Criteria card D will compare the 3-digit codes and will let us know which is the smallest of all 3 digits. Should triangle be the smallest? Perhaps it's square or even circle. Criteria card E looks at the 3 digits in our code and will let us know how many of those are even. Are there no evens? Is there a single even? 2 of them might be even, or perhaps even all 3 are even. And finally, criteria card F looks at the first 2 digits, takes their sum, and compares it to the number 6. So should the sum be less than 6? Should it be equal to 6? Or should the sum be greater than 6? Remember, our overall objective is to find this unique 3-digit code that abides all of these criteria that we've just described. And we're going to begin with our proposal of 314. So the first thing I want to test is criteria card B. I want to find out what the first digit is. Is it an even or is it an odd? Okay, so the Turing Machine approves of what I have in my proposal. Notice that my triangle digit is a 3, so basically it's telling me yes, triangle should be an odd digit. So that's what I'm going to put down in my notes in section B. That triangle is an odd digit. So that means I can cross out all the even digits. Okay, so what else do we have? We do have criteria card C that tells us how many 3s there are. We also have criteria card E that lets us know how many evens. So let's see, what would be a good second Turing test? Let's go ahead and test criteria card E. I want to know how many evens there are in our solution. Okay, so the Turing Machine also approves of my proposal. Notice that I do have a single even, and that's what the Turing Machine is telling me. There is one even. So let's go ahead and write that down in our notes for in section E, that there is a single even digit. Okay, so that means that either square or circle is even, and of course the other would be odd. At this point, we still don't know which one, but that's what we have. All right, so we've got one more test, and let's see. Let's go ahead and test criteria card F. I want to know what the sum of the first 2 digits might be. So let's go ahead and test F. Okay, so the Turing Machine does not approve of my proposal. Notice that I do have 3 and 1 for triangle and square. Their sum is 4, so it's not less than 4. And so let's go ahead and write that down in our notes. That triangle plus. So what we'll do is, since we actually have 2 remaining possibilities, I'll state that triangle plus square is either equal to 6 or greater than 6. So it's one or the other. And at this point, we really don't know which one it might be. Well, that does it for this first round. Next, we'll be going into our thinking phase of how to construct a good second round proposal. All right, so we haven't tested criteria card A, which tells us whether it's less than 4, equal to 4, or greater than 4. We also haven't figured out how many 3s there are, nor have we discovered which one is the absolute smallest. So let's see. As far as number of 3s, it could be triangle, or it could be either square or circle if there is a 3. Obviously, well, let's see. Obviously, it can't be 3 3s, right? Because we do know we have a single even. It could be 2. Let's see. One thing I really didn't look at is, let's see, what happened when we tested criteria card F. If the sum is equal to 6, I guess everything is still open. There are plenty of possibilities. Let's see, if it is equal to 6, that means I could not include 2 and 4. It would have to be either some form of 1 5 or even 3 3, which, you know, criteria card C could confirm. But let's see, what if it's both 6 and we have 2 3s? That would mean that circle would have to be even, and I guess potentially out of all the criteria cards that refer to circle, it could be that circle might be 2. That would make sense. That'd be 3 3 2 if it were equal to 6. And let's see, how would that, but I don't think it could be 3 3, because if it were to be 6 and there'd be 2 3s, then I don't think, let's see, could we say that criteria card A might be superfluous? Let's see, would that be true? Yeah, I would imagine so. If we know that there are 2 3s, then obviously, well, that's if it's equal to 6. Greater than 6, we've got a lot of possibilities as well. 2 5, 3 4, 3 5. Yeah, we have a lot of possibilities. Wow. Okay. So if that's the case, it could also mean that if it is a 6, then, and maybe there are no 3s, that either triangle or square would be the absolute smallest. But what would that mean for circle if it were even? What would that mean? Because if circle is not the smallest and it happens to be the even, how would you... Well, I guess, or maybe it could be greater than 6. Yeah, I'm liking this. I think if it's greater than 6, then it might be a 3 and a 5. And then the smallest would be the circle 2. And square would basically tell us which one it would be, 3 or 5. And we would pick... and we would pick circle to be 2. But there are other cases where if you include a 4 in for square, wow, too many possibilities. But we got to try something. So I believe I'm going to, let's see, if I force that to be small enough, or perhaps big enough, 5. Now I'm really torn. 5, 3, 3, 5. I suppose if square is less than 4, but I want it to be, the sum be greater than 6, it would force the triangle to be 5. Let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to say 5, 3, 2. Let's go ahead and do that. 5, 3, 2. We'll see where that takes us. Okay, so let's test criteria card A. I want to find out about square. Okay, so it does approve, the Turing machine does approve of my value for square, I should say, that it should be less than 4. So let's go ahead and write that in our notes in section A. That square should be less than 4. Since I have a 3, 3 is less than 4. So that means that square can neither be 4 nor 5. Okay, getting closer. Let's also then now test which is the smallest. So that's criteria card D. Okay, so it also approves of that. So that means that yes, circle is the smallest. So let's go ahead and put that in our notes. So circle, let's see, how do I want to, I'll just say, yeah, I'll spell it out, is the smallest. Okay, so since circle is the smallest, that means that triangle and square cannot be 1s. Because if they were to be 1, what would circle be? So triangle can't be 1, nor can square be 1. And along the same thinking, that means circle can't be 5, because if circle were 5, what would the others be? Okay, so we've been eliminating a good amount of these numbers. Let's see what else or is there anything if we go back and take a look at the sum of the first two? So we know that it cannot be like a 3, 2 because that sum is less than 6. It can't be 3, 2, but everything else will work. 3, 3, and then 5, 2, and 5, 3. So let's see. We also notice that square is the only even in square is 2. So what if square were 2? That would force a circle to be 1, and that would mean that it would have to be 5, 2, 1. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so circle could also not be 4 because what would square be? Right? If circle is the smallest, well, circle can't be 4. There would be no value for square. So that means I can cancel out or cross out the 4. What else? Could I cross out the 3 as well? If I cross out, or if circle were to be 3, square couldn't exist either because 3 is not less than 3. So wow, okay, so that means that circle can't be 3 either. Very interesting. Alright, so from here on out, yes, you could have a 2 because then square could be 3, and you have 3, and of course 1 still works. Okay, what else can we come up with? Should we start listing out possibilities? Yeah, why don't we start listing some of the remaining possibilities? So let me come in this section since it is empty, and I may come back and answer or query criteria card C. So we know it can't be 3, 2 as I mentioned because that sum is less than 6. So it could be 3, 3, and then because we know we have an even, it would have to be a 2. That's a possibility. And I believe that may be the only possibility with 3 for triangle. Yeah, it would have to be the only one. Okay, so what about now 5? Well, 5 could include square to be 2. That sum is greater than. And I would need an odd, which would be the 1, since it has to be the smallest. And I believe that would be the only possibility for 5, 2. What about 5, 3? That would be 5, 3, 2. Because I would need that 2 as an even. Okay, so what do we have? We do have a sum that's 6, which has 2 3s. Oh, this is interesting. This has 2 3s, a 3, 3, 2. This has no 3s, and this has 1 3. Wow, fascinating. Okay, wow, what a choice. So we have either 0, 1, or 2. Luckily, our proposal does have a single 3. Let's see, what else? We do notice that the first one, it has a sum of 6, and both of these have a sum that's greater than 6. So can we somehow deduce which one of these it is? We do have one more test. My thinking is that it's going to be one of the latter two, where the sum is greater and then there's either a 3 or no 3. So I don't want to necessarily test criteria card F again, but what could it be? Well, if I'm lucky and there's 1 3, then I'll know what it is. But otherwise, I would have to go to a third turn. Is there anything else that I could deduce? I know that square and circle, 1 is even, 1 is odd. What about that? Is there anything in there? So we've got an odd here, and we have an odd here, and an even in the middle. But there's really no indication of what square could be, even or odd. I think I'm just going to test criteria card. Let's see, if I do test criteria card C and it fails, then I know it's not going to be 532. And then I could just test the sum in the third round. If I test the sum now and it's greater, I would still have to test. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to do a third turn. So let's go ahead and do criteria card C, and maybe we'll get lucky. Okay, fantastic. That's it. That is the answer, 532. So to confirm, obviously 532 got all these checks. I assume we still conformed with criteria card B, which was that triangle's an odd digit, yes. And E, that we have 1 even, yes. The only thing that obviously we did modify was our sum. So yeah, I feel confident that it should be 532. So let me go ahead and cross these out. Oops. There we go. And so I'm saying that my answer should be 532. And let's go test. Let's go to turingmachine.info and verify that the code is 532. Excellent. All right. But of course, the true test is, did we beat the Turing machine? So the good thing is that we did all 6 tests. There are 6 criteria cards, so that's always a good indication, at least tying. So we did test everything. We did B, E, F, and F was the only incorrect. So let's go ahead and type that up. So we had B, E, F, and in the second round we tested everything else and it was correct. So how do we do? Wow, look at that. We actually did it in 6 questions while the Turing machine took 8. Astounding, honestly. But I think there was probably a little bit of element of surprise. But the strategy of, talking through, like I said, trying to construct a good second proposal, looking at the criteria cards, how they interact with each other, is a worthwhile strategy to use. It could be a little bit analysis paralysis at times, but there was maybe, like I said, perhaps an element of luck, but it was rather fortunate. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so that other people can find it. If you don't want to miss out on any future videos, make sure to hit subscribe to be notified. Well, that's it for today. Have a great one.